everyone, and welcome to Planners Anonymous Live. Now, I do have a few cameras set up, but I've just realised I can't see the chat from YouTube on my on my iPad, and I had a few technical difficulties. I bought a new microphone. The microphone isn't working. It was working yesterday. But so this is directly to the people who are watching on Insta Live. Could you please jump over into my YouTube channel? There is a link to it in the I've created a highlight, and if you swipe up it'll take you to there, because unfortunately I can't see anything that is being said on my, like the chat bar isn't coming up. So if you could please jump over into that, because I'm going to stop the live on. I thought this. I'm having to run 4 different devices at the moment to keep this going. So please jump over into our YouTube, because that's the one I'm going to keep going. I have a lot to chat about today, so I would love it if you all could join me. Yeah, please jump over. I will hopefully see you all there, because I would love to keep the Insta Live going, but it's just, I just can't see what people are saying in our chat. So please jump along. I will see you all there, and go back to my highlights and swipe up. Alternatively, go onto our website and there's a link to our YouTubes on there. See you there. Bye. Okay. So, sorry, I'm just getting everything sorted, because this was on a tripod and this is the one I usually use to see all my comments. I'm so sorry that I couldn't get it to work, and that's why I'm late. I was trying to get all the little bits and pieces to work, but I can't seem to see the comments that people are typing to me. And today that's super important, because I have a full Q&A at the end, based on the GoWild. So let me just load up. So for those, okay, let me see. Okay, I can see everyone. Hi, just jumped over from Instagram. Thank you. Okay, so awesome. I can see comments again. Okay, so welcome to today. Today's going to run a little bit differently. For those who are new to watching me, every week I jump on and I do a live for my subscribers and people who watch all about Planners Anonymous and want to know what's going on. So today I'm going to do that as well, and I've got a sneak peek of our next kit, but I'm hoping you can hear me all. But I am also going to chat about what, and I'm wearing my wild shirt today, I hope you can see, what GoWild was for me. Now, I want to say in advance, and I'll repeat this again later when I get up to the wild section, these are my opinions. I'm not being paid. I wish I was being paid. I'm not being told to say these things, and you'll realize that when I get into the chat and I start telling you all about my experiences. I'm going to be putting in the good, the bad, but I'm a big person in constructive feedback. So it needs to be constructive. And the reason, okay, I had people questioning my reasons for doing this and why now. Tara from Pumpkin Paper Co. is a good friend of mine that I actually met at Wild, and I messaged her and I said, girl, that was an amazing thing that you did. Do you mind if I do the same? And she's like, you know what? The more opinions we get out there on Wild, because everybody is different, the more we get out there, the better. So go for it. So that is purely the main reason why I've decided to jump on and do this today. And the other reason why I'm deciding to do this today is, when I was trying to decide whether to buy a ticket to Wild last year, and it was around about this time, I think, or it might have been slightly earlier, I watched as many YouTubes as I could based on other people's opinions, because I wanted to know what I was getting into. So I may as well put mine out there, especially because being an Aussie, people are wondering if it was worthwhile traveling that far. Anyway, first up, I want to have a quick chat, because this is an update for my subscribers as well, and also for people who are interested in subscribing. Now, I hopefully worked out music. I hope that intro had music. I've added in music and sound to the back of a few things. It's my first time. as my normal subscribers know and normal followers and watchers know, I'm still learning. I try and make things look as professional as I can, but it's just me. So I first up, I just want to give a quick weekly update on what's going on here at Planners Anonymous. So we have a whole bunch of boxes off to the side, which is our second run of the Northern Lights kit. They are leaving today. Thank you so much to everybody who subscribed. We've now released the thing. Oh, I should also say it's school holidays, so I've got my little one just outside. She does tend to make appearances occasionally. I have told her Mummy has a lot to talk about today, but if she runs in, you know why. So yeah, it's all hands on deck here. Michael has been wonderful with getting the kits out. I want to see if I can use this stand so I can see. Oh, okay. So the Northern Lights kit is out today. I'm working on the subscriber exclusive downloads this week. They will be up shortly. I've almost finished a whole bunch of them, and they are looking gorgeous, if I do say so myself. Okay, so also for those who are just watching, I'm a bit blundery. I'm not a perfect person. I stumble on my words. If you're new here, welcome. You're just getting me. I'm a very imperfect person, and so I do my best. Okay, so as I mentioned, I announced the next kit, which is Books and Botanicals, which is our follow-up to our book lover. I shared a little bit of a preview on our socials yesterday, which shows you the theme. Right now, I'm going to jump right in and show you I think I recorded the standard stickers first and then the additional sticker kit. I added a lot in. Now, just so you know, so when I cut these, when it's an early sneak peek like today, I guillotine these myself for my early sneak peeks. They're pretty horribly done. The final ones are done properly. So if you see things that are a little bit off, that's because I can't cut things to save my life. Anyway, I'm going to show you this one. This also has music. Hopefully it's not too loud or too soft because it's also got me talking over the top. I'm going to run through the changes I made to one of the sticker sheets, and I'll see you on the flip side. So first off, I have the standard stickers, and these are for our brand new Books and Botanicals kit, which is coming in January. So we're shipping this 15th to the 18th of January. So we've got our gorgeous main girl there, and for those who are watching for the first time, we have a download where you can access all of our girls in our kits, or all the characters in our kits in different hair and skin tones, and that's available as a freebie to our subscribers. And the second page is a whole bunch of florals. So this kit not only is all about the books, but it's also all about the florals. I'm sorry about this. This won't happen in the final version. This is my just a quick copy that I grabbed and cut down myself, and my guillotine was not having a happy day. We've got our fold over sticker, our storage sticker, and a week full of date covers. And then we have this sheet, and I've updated it this month. So we've got little stickers for our live, which somebody suggested, which I thought was fantastic. We've got a planner, some happy mail, some splotches, and some coffee cups, or some hot chocolate cups or teacups, and our post-it notes. So this page has had a really big makeover, and we're really happy with it. But the same sticker has stayed with where to mark your kit as it arrives, and the next kit, which I will release after the 1st of next month. And this is our additional sticker kit. So this is an additional $20 Australian on top of your subscription, which is roughly, I think, around about $13 to $14 US. And it's an 18-page sticker kit. And this is only available as an additional option. So we've got a whole bunch of florals, some books on our front page, and then we've got another one of our girls. And as mentioned earlier, you can get those in the different hair and skin tones on our website if you're a subscriber. A whole bunch of books, and this page is all about the books, and we've got another one of our gorgeous girls, and some globes, and some bookshelves, and another one of our gorgeous girls. So we've got 4 girls in this month, and we've got a planner and some teacups and some coffee cups and some flag markers and some cute little handbags. And then we've got, because this isn't just a book kit, it's all about the florals as well. So we've got some gorgeous florals to decorate your planner. These guys are actually cut, there's a line that you can't see that's cut in half. And the idea of these is they're like, almost like book plates where you can write in the middle of them, either your name or what section of your planner it is, or you could use them individually. And then we've got from the library of, and this is one big sticker here, and then you've got two separate stickers there. And then we've got some book plates, so this book belongs to and this planner belongs to. We've got some really cute little, I can't remember what they're called, but those post boards. Just a note, one more page. And I thought with these ones what you could do is put one more page and then put what page number you're up to in your book on the opposite side. Some books and a little bookshelf. We've got all of our quotes, which I'm absolutely loving this month. And this one, if you're a Friends fan, you're going to know where that comes from. And then we've cut these slightly differently this month. So what we've done is, I'm going to see if I can show you. So that's a single box. That's a single box. And if you've got, so those are 1.5, 1.5, and then this here is if you've got inserts which run a little bit wider on the double box, you can add in that extra little strip down the bottom. And these are two singles, and then you've got some dividers. And whoops, and we've done the same with this page as well. We've also got a lot of people use these for to-do list or extra special notes, and these are designed to fit within an ECHP planner as well. Some more little bookshelves. We've got our date covers, so we've got 2 lots of date covers, and the reason for that is so that you can date all your weeklies in your planner, and then you can do one for your month. We've also got the post-it notes, and then we always have 4 weeks of standard colors. So we've gone with the blue, the navy blue, the light green and the dark green this month. And then we have our gorgeous little minis. So we've got one that is more of a, the girls that are in the kit, and you can see that there. And then you have your more functional page, which has got some peeps and a whole bunch of girls doing different things for the month. So that is our additional sticker kit. If you are a current subscriber, you need to add that before the end of this month. If you are a new subscriber, you need to add that when you subscribe. Hope you love it as much as we do. No sound. Thanks, guys. And this is why I need to be in my chat for YouTube, because I need to remember when I forgot my sound. Okay, so what I was saying was our TNs are still available for purchase, so make sure you jump on if you're interested in those and grab them. Okay, hopefully the sound is back, because we are going to jump into some nitty gritty. I'm getting messages on Messenger and everywhere saying that I'm muted. I know I've fixed up the sound. Hopefully, I'm just going to wait for a second. Because, okay, just so you know, there's a 1 minute delay. I think it's 1 minute. It's either 1 or 2 minute delay. They can hear me now. Okay, cool. The other thing I need to let you know is that I'm home with Indy alone. Michael's gone out Christmas shopping. So if a courier arrives, I have to run and organize all of that. I do have some elevator hold music. I organized that from last time, because last time I was like, oh, what do I do? Okay, so next up, Whew. It's always nerve-wracking sharing your experiences online. And I thought about doing this a little while ago. So when I was at GoWild, I Insta-storied a lot. And a lot of behind the scenes, and I think I've still got that as a highlighted story, but you have to scroll up. There's literally like 2 of them, 2 like full sets of stories, like 1,000,000 stories type thing. GoWild. So I wanted to chat about a GoWild, and the first thing I need to say, and I said this at the start of my live, was that these are my opinions. They are my opinions only. I am not in Wild's pockets. I sponsored a table at GoWild. I didn't have a merch license. It was my 2nd year sponsoring a table, and I'll talk about that soon. And this year, so Vegas was the first time I had traveled over. And the reason why I'm doing this chat is because I really wanted to talk about, for people who haven't done the Wild experience. And I was chatting to Tara before this saying, oh my gosh, mine is going to be so different to yours, because we are 2 very, very different people. I love Tara. Tara is absolutely gorgeous and a wonderful person. And Tara was wonderful. She's like, yep, completely understand. You do you, basically. And it was wonderful to watch her, to put out her experiences. Now, I haven't been paid by Michaels or asked by Michaels or asked by Wild or paid by Wild to do this. This is all just me. And as I said, I thought now is the perfect time to do it, because I'm guessing tickets will come out soon. It's Christmas now, so I'm guessing maybe January, so that people can say, Christmas hurt people. So people can save for it. I don't know. But I wanted to do this now so that people who are on the fence can make a decision based on other people. Okay, so I've created a whole bunch of little side splashes things, because my regular subscribers know that I like to chuck little splashes up, and since I've organized this software, it's a lot of fun, but sometimes I get a little bit muddled, so hopefully I press all the right buttons. Okay, so let's get this party started. Oh, whoops, no. Okay, so my Wild experience. Whew. As mentioned, let me tell you a little bit about me. When I get into a social setting, I'm very much an extrovert. I feed off other people's energy, and which is why I love doing my lives on a Monday morning or a Sunday night. So when I do these, at first I get really, really nervous about them, because I do have anxiety. But then once I'm on and people are messaging me, and I really feel that community spirit. So it was very similar when it came to Wild. Being that I'm an international, I'm all the way from Australia. I mean, the accent gives that away, right? It was a massive, massive investment for us to go. And we went because obviously we run our own business, and it was at the right time in our business where I wanted to try and promote myself. And so I'm going to talk a lot through, I've got a whole bunch of prompts, so I keep myself on task, and then I'm going to do a Q&A at the end. And you'll see the sidebar, this come up at the right, come up with prompts on when to ask questions and things like that. So first up is the Wild Vegas Facebook group. Okay, so in the main PGW group, I'm pretty quiet. I get a little bit nervous when posting, because there is so many people in there, and I don't want to come off like I'm just promoting my stuff, or it's nerve-wracking in any major group when you're putting out anything online, whether it be on a news website or on a mum's group, or it's nerve-wracking. And so I made this promise to myself that when I signed up to get a ticket, I was going to take full advantage of everything that came with it, to the point where if I don't sleep, I just need to work through it. So I did. So I thought, you know what? Nobody's going to know of me. I'm here doing my own thing in Australia. I would be shocked if anybody knows about me. I am going to go into this group and I'm going to try and make myself heard. I'm going to try and get people to know who I am before I get over there. So that way, when I get there, I'm not, what's the term? It's like Sally no friends, or I know there's Nigel no friends. Sorry, Nigel, Sally. I wanted to try and make some friends in the group first. Now, I feel like I achieved that somewhat. I feel like people were starting to notice me a little bit more, and I knew of a couple of people, not very many. So if you want to know what it's like when you don't really have friends before you go there in the group, this video is also for you. Because I really only knew Bess from Lights Planner Action. I knew a couple of girls in my design team, but not closely. And yeah, so it was nerve-wracking. But I am a firm believer in, if you put yourself out there, you just do the best that you can, and hopefully people see that, which also goes for this video. So the Wild Facebook group, I was posting up about my business because that was the big reason why I was going. I was going for my business, but I'm also going because I am a planner girl. I love the community. I love what people put out. And although I don't have as much time to plan as what I used to before I had Planners Anonymous, I wanted to get out there and just enjoy and see what everybody was talking about, this whole wild thing. So the Wild Vegas group was a very different vibe to the main PGW group. It was very much, yeah, we're going, let's work out roommates, let's talk about the stuff that we're going to do outside of this, let's talk about everything Wild Vegas. And then there was the shop group as well. So I was involved in both. And to be honest, I loved it. I'm still part of the Wild Vegas Facebook group, and I really enjoyed that that sort of community where it was very focused on it. And I didn't go the year before, and I was kind of glad I didn't see all the stuff that was in that group, because to be honest, I would have been jealous as. So I'm really actually glad that they split that up. That's again, all these opinions are my own. Okay, let's see what's next. Flying, so oh my goodness. Okay, I have a few stories behind this. So I grew up with my grandparents, and I moved literally straight out of home and in with Michael. I've done 2 international trips previously. One was to America, LA, and all that, pre-Michael, so that was with work. So there was a group of like 50 of us who went, and I was into video games then. I went to E3. So for those gamers out there, oh sorry, I will try and keep this filtered with my words. And the second time I went was with Michael, so he did all the organizing, he did all that sort of stuff. And I am not an organized person. I plan so that I can be organized, because I am terrible at it. I even forgot to book a hotel for one night in Vegas, and I had to call up the hotel room and plead that they could extend my stay. Yeah, this is the type of person I am, because it's like days and nights, and I just didn't put 2 and 2 together, and I was so flustered. And so flying solo, I took over. So I sponsored a table, and I had 2 bags. One bag was for me, and the other bag was all my table stuff, so that I could take everything over. And I thought that I'll get there, unload my table, and then I've got an empty bag to put all the swag in. I got to my connection. I've never done a connection before. I've especially on my own. I've never ever done that. And I'm nervous as I think about what happened, because it was very traumatic at the time. As you know, when you do a connection in the US, they sort of filter you through like this back way. You go through, you pick up your bags, then you go through to this sort of back end, and you recheck in for your next flight. You don't go through all the shops, it's just this way, and then you go to your next terminal. So I was watching my bag come down, and as it came down, it literally split open, and a whole bunch of my stuff fell out. And it was my table bag. My heart rate is going like crazy right now. I was frantic. There were no stores where I could buy a new new suitcase. There was stuff everywhere. The staff didn't really care. So I just gathered up everything that I could, pulled my bag off, checked out my bag, and the zipper had actually split. So I tied it up as good as I could with what I had. I took my bag. The only reason why it didn't come apart completely was I had one of those bag straps. And here I was thinking, how crazy are people who use the Glad wrap all around their bags? Why would they do that? And now I'm like, man, I should have paid for that Glad wrap. That would have been such a good idea. And sorry, every now and again, my Instagram stops doing messages. Sorry, my YouTube stops posting messages. And I never know if everybody's gone quiet or not. Hopefully people have just gone quiet. So I went to my connection, and as I was going through there, I walked up to this lady, and she's like, what did she say? She wanted my ticket. And I'm not going to try to do an American accent because my American accent's pretty terrible and I really don't want to offend anyone. And I said to her, my bag is broken. And I basically word vomited in Australian all over her. This poor lady. And she's gone, are you telling me that there's a problem with your bag? And I'm like, yes. Anyway, so she sent me over to the side. I went to baggage. It was like a insurance desk. I told them what had happened. They're like, are you telling me there's a problem with your bag? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how to get on. Could you have something I could seal it with? Anyway, I basically had to sign a form. They had a suitcase there, and I swapped everything over. And I had a new suitcase. It was brilliant. I'm just going to restart my YouTube while I'm saying this. So that was fantastic. But then the problem was I was so frantic about going to my terminal. I went to the wrong terminal. I walked probably about a kilometre, half a mile, out of the way. I went about a kilometre out of the way, trying to find the right terminal, and I went to the wrong terminal. I got there, and I was like, borderline tears. Oh, okay, there was comments, and I just wasn't seeing it. I was in tears. She's like, are you okay, miss? And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm meant to go. Anyway, they were lovely. They directed me to the right place. I got to I think I had like an hour in between the connections. I sat there, I calmed down and just chilled out. I do have another story about what I had to go through, but I'm saving that because it's Michael's related. So I'm going to save that for when I talk about the Michael's make room, because it's a very big part of that. And it's a funny part of that. I have so many little stories. I hope I'm not boring everyone. So flying international, like, it cost an absolute bomb. I think it cost us like $2 or $3 grand in flights just to get there. Michael, who is my husband, it was amazing. He put me into premium economy so that I could have some space, because he knew that I was super nervous, and he knows that in premium economy the staff are just a little bit more supportive, especially if you're a really anxious flyer. And that was with Virgin. I love flying Virgin. It was hard. I walked into, let me just track it back a bit to tell you about my anxiety. So I have two kids. Lachlan, who is my eldest, he's 8 now, so he was 7 at the time, and my little girl Indiana, who was 6 at the time. She's turning 7 tomorrow. Feel free to message in the group about her birthday. She will love it. And we tried to tell Lachlan, so he's nonverbal, he's quite low functioning. He's a very smart kid, but he's very low. He's impacted quite deeply by his autism. And we tried to explain to both of them that Mummy's going away. It's the longest I've ever been away. Mummy's going away for a few weeks. And as we pulled up to the airport and I got all my bags out, Lachlan had these tears in his eyes and just this look, because he was quite non-verbal. And Indy was going, Mummy, no leave, Mummy, no leave. And I was so strong. And I turned around, and as I walked away from them, I just started crying. And I'm like, no, suck it up. You're walking into a public place. And I walked in. And this lady said, hi, how are you? Where are you traveling to today? And this poor lady, I absolutely bawled all like, and I'm not just talking like little tears. I'm talking ugly crying. This poor lady had no idea. She's like, it's okay. Do you need a hug? I'm like, yes, I need a hug. I'm a hugger. I'm like, yes, I need a hug. I need a hug. And I cried on her for a good 10 minutes. That made the whole flying international thing, flying to a different country, very hard for me. It was hard. It was hard flying solo. But when I got to America, so I flew in early. I stayed in Vegas for an extra 4 days because my theory was that I got there because there's such a big time difference, I could acclimatize. I don't get holidays. I haven't had a holiday. We started this business almost 3 years ago. Our first kit was 2.5 years ago. I have not had a holiday since. This was my first holiday. This was the first, and I worked the whole time, basically, most of it. I haven't been on my own, and walking down, I was doing a lot of videos, a lot of Insta stories, and I found myself. I know that's so cliched, but I realized I could be an independent person. I could be me. I started to realize who I was without family, who I had built myself up to be. And it was so empowering, and I'm so glad that I got there early and I had that time away and I had that realization, because I honestly feel that I needed that prior to walking in to go live. And I have the utmost respect for people who understand that about themselves, because there's been a lot that I've been through in my life, and definitely was not sheltered. And to work out who I was on my own, and that I didn't mind this person was kind of cool. I was always the not cool girl in school. So to find this person was it was amazing for me. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that too much, because a lot of you are here just for the wild experience. So, but I want to tell you all these little stories because I feel like they're the little bits that this is my personal experience, they're the little bits that you don't hear about when you hear about wild. And a lot of people, like especially in Australia, they're like, how was it flying solo? It was nerve-wracking because I had so much go wrong. So this year I'm going to be buying one of those lycra covers that go around the suitcase for both of my suitcases. I am going to be way more prepared because I've done it before. Anyway, let's see what my next thingy is. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward to going wild and walking into that room. So I did the shop summit early. Let me just talk about that for a second, because I forgot to add a slide in for that. The shop summit was probably not aimed at me. I got a few takeaways, and with every conference, so I've been to a fair few, not just planner ones. I've been to conferences for video games, computing, for photography, because I worked in photography for a long time before. So I've been to a lot of different conferences. So but I haven't been to planner conferences. So when I talk about my experiences, it's me compared to what else I've been to. I don't feel like the shop summit this year, because it changes. It will probably change next year, right? I don't feel like this year it was aimed at me, but I still got a couple of takeaways. So I was appreciative for that. The other issue I had is I missed out on a chunk of it because where I live is quite, it's not really humid, but it's a little humid, and I had some really severe nosebleeds and had to keep walking out of the room because the smoke in the casinos and in the hotel, not actually in the hotel section, but in the casino section, was really intense for me. And I really struggled with that, and my sinuses are really bad, which is part of the reason why I apologize. I do sniffle in my videos. It's not something I can help, but I have really terrible sinuses. So I had to basically keep on jumping out and excusing myself. And the other problem was, because this was the first time I had literally sat down in 5 days since arriving in America. I thought, I got this time zone thing sorted, I am fine. And then literally the second I sat down, I'm like, nope, can't fall asleep, gotta pay attention. And I think I almost hit my head at one point because I kept drifting off. I was that naughty girl in the back of the class. I kept almost falling asleep. I did try. That's why I tried to get in early and I slept enough. Anyway, the shop summit, the main thing I found really beneficial to the shop summit. So Mary's just said the smoke was nasty. Yes, and I found that is very much a specific Vegas thing. So I went to California, San Diego, San Francisco. I've been around the West Coast a few times, and I find it's very much a Vegas thing. Because I don't want you to leave your little gambling section, right? So they just want people to smoke and forget about time. Where was I? Crap. That was right. The big thing that I had as a takeaway from the shop summit, I met some amazing people. I met some suppliers, like manufacturers, like what are they called? I met the girls from Office Depot who were amazing and really helped me before my Michael's pitch. I made some contacts there, and I also, I went to the dinner that was afterwards that you could, what was it, Pink Taco? Oh my god, the food there. Oh my lord, you people in America have such big servings. So most of the time I was sharing plates with people because I'm used to eating about a quarter of what you eat, which was great because it was all of a sudden, it gave me a reason to share with people. And I got really nervous walking into Pink Taco because everybody had sort of groups, but I walked straight up in between them and I just put myself out there because what are they going to do? The worst thing somebody will say is they just won't include you in the conversation, and then you know worse off than what you already are. So I just put myself out there. I was shaking a lot of the time, but I did it. So I made some invaluable contacts through that. Which, to be honest, is more than I've gotten out of some conferences. Okay, so walking into the GoWild room. I was lucky as a stall holder, a shop table sponsor. I went in the day before and I sort of checked out. You're not supposed to. I was cheeky. Sorry if the Wild team are watching. I sort of had a sneaky peek through. I mean, it took me hours to set up my table. Okay, 3/4 of the stuff I still had. I did miss on a few things that got lost in transit through the luggage sort of opening up. But yeah, that most of the stuff made it. So, and a few amazing girls came through and actually helped me unpack my table because they saw I was on my own and they were really wonderful about it. So I knew exactly what table I wanted to sit at. I wanted to, and this is going to be funny because of what I said earlier. I wanted to sit at Tara's table at Pumpkin Paper Co. because I love her stuff, and the shipping to get anything from almost any American store to down here is, it's insane. It's so expensive. Like if I want to get stickers from most shops, it's $18 Australian in shipping before I even start. And her characters remind me of my little girl. My little girl's got red hair. She reminds me very much of that. So every time I look at her stickers, I see my little girl. And when I knew that she was putting a TN on there, I've got it set aside for my little girl for when she's a bit older. I knew I had to have it. So when I was waiting in line, the idea was Tara would always come and, because we'd met up at the, I can't remember if it was a shop summit or just before, and I sort of put myself out there, and, or maybe it was while we were setting up tables, and I put myself out there and told her I was going for her table, and she's like, oh, that's sweet. And I'm like, no, I'm running for your table. I don't think she believed me. I just think she thought it was cute, and I'm like, no, I'm running for your table. Um, so I was up from 4. I was super excited. I decided nobody would be down lining up to get into the room by then. So I went down around 6. The coffee line was absolutely massive. So I missed out on coffee. But I think at that point I was all adrenaline. And then, because I said to Tara, come and line up with me. And they got there a little bit later. And I'm not that person who lets everybody in. But she bought me drinks and things like that. And I know people are going to hate me for saying that. But I let her and her friend in, who were wonderful, because I felt like I didn't really have anybody to, like, the girls around me were wonderful, but I really wanted to chat with her. Don't hate me. Yes, I came and met you while you were setting up the table. Yes, I did, because I wanted to see what you had. So cheeky. So we were chatting about all things there, and she gave me some sustenance, gave me some food from her home and drink from her home, which I really appreciated, because at that point I hadn't eaten or had anything to drink because I wanted to go and line up. I have to admit, so I was really anxious about going in because I had seen the videos of previous years where the doors just opened, everybody went, it just went wild. It wasn't like that. It was really orderly. They let people in batches. It went really well. The one thing I got up in the middle of the night and bought my wild ticket, and I got a hot seat, hot pass, fast pass, whatever it was called. And I was kind of hoping that got you the first entry into the room as part of getting up early. It didn't. It's probably one of my feedbacks. That would have been great. Because that's how I felt, like I thought that was going to happen. But it didn't. But that was okay. That's just me. I was a newbie. I didn't know. So I got in. I knew where Tara's table was, and I didn't run. I very quickly walked. There was one seat left, and I got it, and I was so happy. I was over the moon, and to be honest, she had a blanket on the table, and I've actually got it at my computer desk, so it stays with me all year round, and I love it. I just snuggle up under it all the time. And I've put the stuff away for when Indy's a little bit older. My Instagram chats, my YouTube chats stopped again. So I really appreciated that. And I sat down, and the music's pumping at this point. Like, absolutely, it's going wild, and everybody's cheering, and a whole bunch of people are walking around with their recorder, their phones are recordings and everything like that. So, like, I'm like, okay, well, I've got my table, I've put my bag down, and a few of the girls told me, don't leave your bag there unless somebody's watching it, because you just never know. And when you go out for breaks, always take your bag. So I did. I took my main bag, but if there was swag, I just sort of left that under the table. I went around, I had a look at all the other tables, because that first experience of walking in, once you've got your table, you can sort of relax, you've got your place to sit. It's amazing to see how much effort all the table sponsors, like myself, put in. And this is all out of their back pocket. So you pay for a table to be a table sponsor. And it's not that much compared to other things I've been to. Especially because it gets you into, what's it called? The collab and stuff like that. I would have loved to have seen, I'm not sure if there was a table listing, like on the website or whatnot. That would have been great to have that up beforehand, so that we could say that we're part of the table vendors, and I'll talk about that later. But so the tables were set up, and they're incredible, because as a business, it's really hard to get yourself out there and show off your stuff. I had people going past because I had planners on my tables. So I had, I should have had one here. I had a whole bunch of stuff on my table. I had a planner, I had a kit, I had matching stuff to match the planner, I had a bag that I designed, I had drink bottles, I had chocolates or candy from Australia. I had so much on my tables. I think retail value, I may have had about $3,000 on my table. We went over and above because I had seen, what I did was I went through all the past tables from all different events. Last year's Wild, Sugar Gal Conference, went through all of those and thought, okay, how am I going to put myself out there? And I went all out. Not everyone can do that. And it was our marketing budget for the year. So I really wanted to take advantage of it. The girls who sat at my table were amazing. They were so wonderful. One girl, Margie, she said that she would sit at the spot that didn't have all the bits and pieces, which was a really wonderful thing to do. And then I sent it to her afterwards. And she was absolutely delightful about that. She was so good. The girls that sat, I popped over a few times, and that interaction. So I decided not to take away a seat for myself, because you can reserve a seat for yourself on your table. I decided not to do that because I wanted as many people as possible who either were really big fans or preferably people who haven't heard about me sit at my table and really experience it. And a lot of people were like, wow, your TMs, they're not just covers. And getting people to see my products in the flesh was just invaluable. I'm still getting people messaging me now who found my stuff at Wild. So sometimes it can take a year to see that full impact. And it's hard at the time because, you know, you've got to keep quiet about what you've got on your table because you want that surprise. And that was really hard. That was hard because all I wanted to do was share. But I understand why that decision was there. I do want to say, just quickly, a lot of the feedback that I have given it to Wild straight after what GoWild happened. But I'll talk about that. I've got a section where I'm going to talk about all that after. So anyway, the atmosphere is pumping. It's amazing. We have nothing like that in Australia because we are a much smaller market. The closest thing I can compare it to is like going to E3, and they have millions of dollars to spend on that sort of thing. You're talking about like the biggest game development studios in the world go to that sort of thing. I was blown away. I mean, put it into context. Our football games here, so I'm not a big football fan, but a few years ago when hubby and I went to San Diego and we watched the Chargers versus the 49ers, I want to say. And we walked through a tailgate party. Those things are incredible. And you had like fireworks, you had everything going on. And I said to hubby, is this a final? And he's like, no, it's just a game. But because they're local team, like people have driven, it's a, like, it's all amazing. Like our ones here are nothing in comparison. And you get used to that being an Aussie. So that entry was beyond my wildest expectations, and I was so excited to walk into that. Okay, that's walking in. Let's see what I've got next. The swag. Okay, on our table, Tara. So they say to you in your guide as sponsoring a table, you only need to put $20. I think it was $20 recommended retail onto your table. Now I told you how much we put on our table, and there's 10 people per table. We went all out. Tara went all out, and I was so excited because we got so much on her table, and that was all from her. We got the Michael swag box. Mine cracked on the way home. We got, I think Chrissy Ann Designs does the bags and the t-shirts. I'm not sure because they're only branded with GoWild, but I don't know who does them. By the way, this t-shirt is the comfiest t-shirt. It's so soft. Another one like this next to you, please. But there is so much stuff that you get. Have I used it all? No. There's a few things, pardon me, sorry, which I use on the daily. So I got this really cool blade, like X-Acto knife, but way cooler. It's got a different, anyway, I love that thing. I have used my tub even though it's cracked. I've used a lot of bits and pieces. the girls on my table felt really sorry for me with how much we get in Australia. So they were like chucking me the things on the table and saying, make sure you take this home, make sure you take this home. I'm like, are you sure? They're like, yes. If you don't, somebody else will. I'm like, oh, okay. So I got a new tape runner from, I think it was Tombow. So that was really cool. And so, yeah, there's some things in it which I use. And there's some things in it which are still sitting in a box, sadly. And you know what? Some people will find that really beneficial, the stuff that I didn't get use out of. And it's I think there was like 1,400, 1,500 people. So that's like, you've got to cater really broadly. Like, we do a subscription box, and with our subscriber base, like, it's very hard to juggle for that many people and get it right every month. And we don't. So I could only imagine the pressure that's on not only the GoWild team, but also like the Michael's team, the KAD team, all that, to get it right, because you're never going to please everyone. And I understand that more now that I've been running a business. Joycey, yes, Australia does have planner markets, which I've been to, and meetups, but yeah, they've got nothing on GoWild. And yes, Mary, the Fisker's knife, that's what it was. Thank you. It was amazing. It's incredible. I've ditched my older knives now. Sorry, this is a really long live. I do apologize because I've got so much to get through. So yes, you don't go for the swag. The swag is a bonus. You are not paying for the swag. All the other conventions and stuff that I've been through, you didn't get, I mean, you got a few bits and pieces. School holidays. This is actually pretty quiet. But it's never expected. It's not in the ticket price. What the tables give to you is off their own bat. They have put all their blood, sweat and tears into it. I know this because I did it myself. But yeah, there's a lot of work, and there's a lot of lack of sleep and stressing about if stuff makes it there in time and whatnot. And especially like the people who do full swag and half swag, that's a lot of stuff. It is a lot, and that's coming out of their own back pockets. So if you get swag, if you know of a planner shop who has supported not only GoWild but any event, thank them. And the best way you can thank them is by sharing their stuff online and telling people what you honestly feel about their stuff. So me, honestly, Tara's stuff is amazing, and I'm super picky about my stuff. And I showed her stuff off after GoWild, and I've shown it off a few times. So yeah, it's thank any, and like for any event, it's really hard as a table sponsor. So thank anybody, especially if you sit at their table. And the girls at my table did amazing. Okay, next up, I have a drink. Downtime. Woo, okay. I was pre-warned that in between the schedule, and I have the schedule in front of me, I printed it out to make sure that I could refer to it if I needed to for any questions. There's spots for downtime. And when I saw the agenda at first, I was a bit like, oh, there's so many gaps. So many gaps. Why is there so many gaps? And I was like, well, I could have done another thing here, another thing there. And what I didn't realize, and this was going as a shop person, well, not just that really, but it probably affected me more because I was representing my shop. I always had to be on. I didn't want to be someone who couldn't give people the time of day if anybody recognized me. I didn't think anybody would recognize me. So I wanted to make sure that I was the best me that I could be the whole time I was there. Now, what that meant was during the downtime, sometimes I went back to my hotel room and literally collapsed on my bed. There was some makeup stains on my pillow. Because I remember it was for Cindy's what was it? Cindy's what was it, the podcast taping. I missed most of that, and I've listened to it since, and I've become a big fan. And I was like, oh, it was on the agenda, so it's my fault. But I'm like, I'm so tired, I can barely keep my eyes open, because I've had to be on at this point from literally, I woke up at 4. I didn't go downstairs until 6, and then between 6 and 2:30, or 6 until midday, just after midday, I was on. And I went to my room and I just collapsed. I was so tired. And I woke up and I'm like, oh my goodness, I realized I haven't eaten all day. So I went down to the little cafe, because it was too hard to go to anything else on the strip because we were so far away from the strip. And then I went, there was this other girl, I think she was wearing her shirt, or she had her bag or something like that. And I didn't know, like, all the very few people I knew had sort of gone and done their own things, and I didn't know where they were. And I just walked up to this girl and I said, hi. I mean, this is cliched, right? You came to sit with us. But I went up to her and said, hey, do you mind if I sit with you? And she's like, yeah, come on, sit down. And that was really wonderful, from being, like, I was the girl at school where I was literally told, we don't want you sitting with us, please leave, to having someone say to me, come and sit with me. That very much healed some very old wounds that I had. So that was such a simple little thing that happened during the downtime, which was major for me. And then, why is my watch is out of power? Then, I can't remember who it was, but somebody ran out and said, we're about to do a swag drop, get your butt inside. And we just went, and literally ran back in. So I think we got the, oh no, I've just pushed it back further. The Cultivate planners, the power sheets, which were really awesome. I really loved it. So I was so glad that I got that warning, and we literally just packed up and ran inside. And that's one of the benefits, I guess, as well, to staying on site in the hotel, is that it's really easy to do meetups and sort of pop back to your room for a break. So downtime for me, while at first I didn't appreciate it, when I got there and I realized how intense, especially that first morning is, I really appreciated it. I really appreciated that break. And not only that, during the downtime, and I'm going to say, like, downtime, it's like, as a shop vendor, it wasn't downtime. It was networking opportunity. It was, as I mentioned, like, I didn't know many people. Like, I maybe knew 2 people going over there. It was time for me to make friends. It was time for me to put myself out there and really take advantage of what this was. And so I remember by the end of that night, I actually felt physically ill because I hadn't stopped all day. Would I change it? No, because I got so much out of it, and I met, I'll talk about it soon because I've got a bit on Llama love and friendships. Yeah, okay, so that's my take on downtime. What's next? The Llama love. People talk about this Llama love that's in PGW. And I've mentioned before that I don't really post a lot in PGW. I'm a bit of a lurker. Not that I don't want to, I just get a little bit nervous when posting with that many people. And I'd never really experienced this thing that everybody talks about. I hadn't experienced it. Started getting the feeling of it in the Vegas Facebook group. And then when I got there, it was so different. And from experiences like that, you can come and sit with me. And I'm going to talk about one in my Michael's chat. I felt so much love. I felt it for the first time. I've never felt it before, but I felt it at GoWild. And I understood what people were talking about, because before I thought it was just fluff and bullcrap and stuff that the PGW cheer squad whatever you want to call them, promote, because I hadn't felt it. And I had tried. I'd put my business out there and just, you know, you get a few likes, or you put a planner spread up, you get a few likes, and but going, I really felt it. So, oh my gosh, there's so many people who normally aren't in my video watching. I think it makes me so nervous, but there's some amazing people in there. Hopefully I'm doing okay. So I really did feel it, and I'm going to tell you my biggest instance of feeling the llama love in the next, I think it's the next section. Let me put that, actually no, I'm going to fiddle with it because I need something to play with. Let me just have a drink. Where's my drink? Oh, there it is. Okay. This gives me the most anxiety. Ooh, chatting about this. I'm getting tingly. When I get anxious, I get tingly. The Michael's make room. Okay, let me start off by saying, actually, no, you know what? Let me give you my adventure. So, the call outs happened for people who wanted to apply for the Michael's make room. And I'm guessing there would have been hundreds of people applied. So I put through my application, and I remember saying to a few people, like my friends here in Brisbane, like, I wish they'd let us know because I don't know, and it's getting closer to me having to leave. And I was like, what's going on? I don't know if I need to be prepared for this or not, because they're probably not going to pick me because we're so different. But what happens if they do and I'm halfway across the world? And I am an anxious person. Yes, I have talked in front of, I've presented in photography get-togethers, but no more than maybe 50, 60 people at a time. And even then, I shake. And I do this weird thing where I have a blazer that I wear. It's like my power blazer. And it makes me feel, it's almost like a shield, so that I can put me into a little box, put nervous me, anxious me into a little box, and be this onstage person, because I am not that person. I am this anxiety person. So putting myself out there was really nerve-wracking. I'm like, what do they want? What do they... And I sort of pulled on, so I worked in a corporate environment for so long, I sort of pulled on working in that gaming corporate environment and what people sort of wanted to hear, what companies wanted to hear from that. So I took it from a very corporate approach. Now I told you all about the story where I went through into the airport and I was bawling my eyes out, ugly crying. What you don't know is then I had to line up for customs, because obviously I have to go through customs here and then customs in America. Do not joke to those people on either side. I got to the customs line and it said to turn your phone off because you can't have your phone on the customs line. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to check my email and my Facebook and my socials and update hubby to tell him that I'm going into the customs line and I have to turn my phone off. I'm shaking. I can remember the feeling that I had. And so keep in mind, I was bright red. I had bloodshot eyes because I'd been crying. And I opened up my email and I saw the email that I had been picked to talk on the Michael's make room. I started violently shaking in customs line. And a customs agent was like 2 meters away from me. I had bloodshot eyes and I started to shake and I started to breathe really heavily, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is opportunity. This is something that could really put us on the map. This is so big. And I just started shaking. Anyway, the customs agent saw me and said, Miss, are you okay? Can you step aside? I'm like, oh, insert sweary word here. So I'm trying to not be sweary. Whenever I get very tied up into my emotions, I can be sweary. So please pardon me if I do. I'm going to try and not be. Do my best. I was like, oh, yes, no problem. And I said, look, I've just left my kids. I was crying for like half an hour. And then I just got this email and I showed them my email. Anyway, they went through my bags and then put me through the scanner and all that. And they're like, and then they said, okay, well, you have a good trip and good luck. And I'm like, okay, thank you. So by the time, sorry, I think my YouTube keeps closing, so I'm going to have to keep on reopening it. So by the time I got to my flight, I was so anxious. I was so nervous. I couldn't even think straight. But luckily I had everything in my little planet separate. So that was my first part of my Michael's experience. It was no words, people. And I can look back at it now and laugh, but I have so many emotions tied into it. Okay. The one thing the negative part of the Michael's make room that I do have to bring up is because of when it was, and I don't know when they would have fit it, maybe at the shop summit if they had time, but I can't remember. I don't have the schedule for the shop summit, or whether maybe Michael's couldn't be there at that time or whatnot. But I wish it was at the start, because I spent, and it wasn't just me, I spent a whole bunch of the time that I was at GoWild thinking about the presentation. And I was so anxious about it the whole time. Like, and I'm not, like, I'm getting really dry mouth now, which is what I was like during the Michael's make room, because I was so anxious. And I have a medication that I can be on for my anxiety, and that was doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. I still could have ran like 5 football fields, and I can barely run 100 meters when I get home. So, okay, I have to tell you something really funny. So that was my negative about the whole Michael's make room thing. It was a really bad timing, because I felt like I really couldn't enjoy GoWild as much as I could, and it made everything feel like a blur, because I was so stressed and anxious. Maybe people who are better at dealing with their anxiety might have dealt with that better, but I was super anxious. When the listing came out of when we were talking, oh my goodness, I thought, oh my, insert sweary word. I am behind Irene from Simply Gilded. How do you follow Irene from Simply Gilded? Okay, you are getting my innermost thoughts. Innermost thoughts. I'm going to tell you some really innermost stuff the whole time I was presenting and leading up to it. And I'm really nervous about sharing these, because these are my inner voice. How am I ever going to go up there after her? And there's very strict rules about not taking photos and filming and all that during the make room, which, thank you to the GoWild team, thank you for that. As a presenter, I really appreciated that. I was messaging Michael, my husband, during it, saying, I'm going to throw up. Oh my God, I feel like I'm going to throw up now. I'm going to throw up. I can't do this. And he said, if you cannot do this, that is okay. You are more important than anything at Wild. You need to look after yourself. And if you need to go away, excuse yourself, walk up to one of the organisers and just explain to them and just say it's just not worth it. So I thought, no, I can do this. I feel like if you don't push yourself, you can't grow. And this was one of those moments. This was a grow or stay where you are. sort of moment. This was a defining moment. So what I thought is, I've got enough time. I look at the schedule. I've got enough time. I can go out to the bathroom. I walked out of the hall, went to the bathroom, chilled myself out, went to go back into the room, and the room was locked. They had locked every single door. I couldn't get in. I was locked outside, knowing there was probably only 2 more people away from me, and I couldn't get in. And I didn't want to take away from whoever was on stage, but I knew that about in the middle there was the AV team, and so I was sort of trying to nudge the door enough that they would hear me. Nobody came to my rescue. I'm outside going, what? This was a great experience for those with anxiety. And I walked up. I was like, what am I going to do? I tried every door. I kept running around. I was frantic. And you're not thinking straight when this sort of stuff happens. So I went. Luckily, a staff member from the hotel was walking past. And I said, just to let you know, I'm supposed to be in there. The doors are locked. I need you to let me in. Word vomit again. And she's like, oh, no problem. And she let me in. I'm like, well, that was simple. Why didn't I just start with asking a staff member? Okay, great. No, go down, sit down, focus. So I was a bit fussed about that. Anyway, what the Michaels team said at the very beginning was that if you know someone in the community and they get up on stage, we want to hear from you. We want you to cheer and support them and yell out really loud. We want to hear that. And I was like, I'm following Irene from Simply Gilded. I am this tiny business from Australia. I'm screwed. Irene went up. And a few of the other girls went up too and just got, like Lamika, she got wails. She got screams. Everyone was so excited, and I understand why. She's amazing. Irene went up, and there was this big cheer again. Then they called me up. And I was shaking. I grabbed my box. I grabbed my planner that I'd done up with all my stuff in it. I grabbed my iPad because I had all my presentation on an iPad. So what I did was I color-coded each paragraph because I remember things better in color than what I do, just big walls of text. And I had it really big so that I could see it because I knew when I get anxious, I skip through things and I repeat things all the time. And all I could think about was walking up the stairs because it just so happened that she was walking down and I was walking up at the same time. I'm like, don't knock her over. Don't knock her over. Don't be clumsy, Sammy. I am so clumsy. Don't be clumsy, Sammy. Don't knock Irene over. Anyway, I got up on stage. And everyone was cheering. And I will never, ever forget that moment that I felt loved and supported, and the Llama love, and to a small business, any small business who gets up on that stage, cheer for them all, because to put yourself out there is one of the scariest things you can do. So to get up there and have that support was amazing. And then Michael said that we were the first and only international. I'm like, oh great, now I'm more nervous. And everybody cheered for me, and I'm like, here I am with my little Aussie accent, and I could barely breathe by the end of it. I couldn't swallow. My mouth was completely dry. I was so anxious. I completely forgot that there were screens on the floor that we could look at, so I kept sort of like trying to see the big projector that was off to the side. And I have to say thank you to, I think it's Tessia. She, every time I looked at her, and I think Tara said the same thing, she was just this ball of joy and excitement and calming and welcoming. And every time I was anxious, I looked at her because she smiled like, yeah, you got this. And that's what it felt like to stare at her. So if you're watching this, thank you, because that meant, and I caught up with her at Planjama, and that meant the world to me. because it is nerve-wracking to put yourself up there. But I did it. And at the end of it, oh, I forgot to say, before I went up for the Michael stage, I went into the, the side room where they had all the vendors and stuff. I went into that side room and I had a chat to Holly and the girls from Office Depot, and they were teaching me like power pose. Yes, I think it was Sweet Quiet Design. And they were teaching me the power pose and just getting me to breathe. And they gave me this little bottle of champagne to drink afterwards, or bubble sparkling wine, because it's not from France, so therefore it's not champagne. And I really have to thank those girls as well for what they did, because that was also invaluable. But I did that. And then I believe the only thing after that was Planjama, which I'm going to talk about in a couple of seconds. But as you know, we were picked out of all the amazing people who presented, and I think everybody, and Tara, this is at you too, I believe everybody did an amazing job. I think just to get up on stage and put yourself out there is incredible. To talk about your products and your brand and what you do is incredible. And that's not taking away from what you felt, because that is all valid. But me personally, I think you all did amazing, and I learnt from every single one. And that was a big thing for me. Like, as long as I could walk away learning something from every part of Wild, then I was happy. I'm shaking. I didn't find out until I was on the next part of my holiday. So I stayed with a friend in LA, and I was on a bit of a wind down. But I was still so anxious because I needed to wait and find out. And then when I found out, I was so excited. I was so happy. It was like, wow, people are really interested in what we do. So I can't talk much more about what happens after that. But what I can say is that, yes, we are still working with Michaels. I'm waiting for samples. We are still super excited. And when we can share more, we will. But I want to take my hat off to Lamika and Marg from Capital Sheep Designs and Once More With Love, who are about to put their stuff in store. It's amazing. So that was my Michael's Make Room experience. And it was funny because after I did that presentation, because remember, I was really anxious the whole Wild time because I had to present. So when I got up, after I'd gotten up and I'd sat back down, I think I drank like 2 bottles of water because I was so thirsty. My heart rate, I think, was at like 150. I wore a heart rate monitor. I was at like 150 to 160 during the presentation. And I just went, oh my gosh, it's done. I've done all I can do. And I finally relaxed and started to enjoy my holiday. Which brings me to Planjama. Oh my goodness. So, as mentioned earlier, I'm a really outgoing person when I'm out. But I also have a point where I just need to chill out. Planjama for me was almost pretty much every party I've been to on steroids. I missed out on the confetti carpet because I got so carried away in just enjoying myself. I let my hair down and I may have had a few drinks. If you weren't a drinker, I mean, I'm a drinker, so, but that's just me. There's never any judgment for people who aren't, but I know that they were serving drinks and like alcoholic and non-alcoholic at the bar. But if that's not your scene, that's not your scene. And there's plenty else at GoWild. But for me, I love the party. I haven't been out. I think the last time I went out was it would have been when Kaya, our au pair, was here and I took her out partying. But before that, it would have been a few years. So I just done my Michael's pitch. And I was like, right, now I'm ready to enjoy GoWild. And I let my hair down. I had my little Llama glow in the dark lights on blankie thing. I had my Vegemite PJs on. I was ready to party. And party I did. I had a few drinks. I partied a little bit with the Office Depot girls. I partied with a whole bunch of different crews. I had people coming up to me talking about the make room, which was wonderful. I had girls introducing me to the different drinks. And okay, the girls from Parasol Paper introduced me to the blue drink, which I ordered, and apparently the drink I ordered was not the drink that they ordered. And then a wonderful girl who I've now made an amazing friendship with called Tabs, she came up to me, she goes, what are you drinking? I'm like, I don't know, it's just the blue drink. And I drank about this much of it, and I was like, and I went up, and she went up with me, and she asked the bartender what she served me, and she said, did you serve me? And it's got a rude, I can't remember the full name of it. She's like, did you serve her this? And she's like, yeah, that's what she asked for. I'm like, anyway, I knew it was all over. I was probably a little bit past where I would have liked to have been, but I have to admit there were these, I will always remember the little like cakes, the little dessert stands and all that, and the food, because I scoffed down so much just to try and soak up as much of the alcohol as I could. I remember, I can't remember her name, and I'm really apologize, I'm really bad with names, but I know that her Instagram handle is Planning with Twans, and she taught me how to booty drop. No, not booty drop, twerk, which I still cannot do to save my life. But I partied with her for a bit, I partied with Tabitha, I partied with Bess and Jen and a whole bunch of my friends, my new friends who I had not met before. And it was just I missed out on the confetti carpet, which I'm really upset with, and I need to do. But for me, and I missed out on a whole bunch of different photo ops and stuff like that, which is my fault. I got carried away with other bits and pieces and stressed. But Planjama was the party I had to have. It was the release for me. I had to have it. And it was good. It was one of my favorite parts. And it felt like, oh my gosh, this is the end. I wish I could do a whole nother day of GoWild. I wanted more at that point. And I think it was because I'd finally unwound and relaxed. So I partied like it was 1999. And then I remember we all got, one of my favorite memories is we all got booted out because it was closed, and we went down to the casino floor, and we all just started partying to the ambient music. So then they brought down a DJ and opened, had more staff on the bar, and Romeo's Countdown. It had like boot scooting. Every time they had a video in the PGW group of everybody getting into that, and I'd never seen that before. And I'm like, oh man, teach me the steps. So I was in there learning the steps. So if anybody's got video of me there looking completely uncoordinated, it's because I had never heard that song before GoWild, and I really enjoyed myself. So thank you to everybody who kept partying on. And part of that was getting to meet some really cool people, like especially during the breakout times. It was so wonderful having those times where I could really connect, not only to people who purchased my stuff, but people who were interested, and just general people hearing about their stories and how amazing they are. Obviously couldn't do that during Planjama because it was quite loud, which I'm not arguing with. I loved it, but it was amazing. Oh, during Planjama I also had a lovely lady, I think, as I said, I'm horrible with names. I think her name was Mary, and she asked me to sign her planner. And I thought she meant like sign the insert, and she brought a Sharpie over to me and gave it to me, or I think you guys, I don't know what you call them, but it's like a permanent marker, and she wanted me to sign the inside back of the actual planner. I was exceptionally flattered and shocked. And the first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, if I screw this up, do we have more stock of this one? can send her if my scribble is really bad. I was so nervous because at that stage I'd already had a few drinks. So that was funny. Yeah. Anyway, it was amazing. The whole thing was amazing, and I can't thank enough people for making that incredible for me. Okay, that's enough on Planjama. What's next? Friendships. Yeah, so I've touched on this already, but I have made a bunch of very close friends which I now keep in contact with. I still keep in contact with some of them. I polo every single day. Some of them I Instagram, some of them I Facebook chat with. But I made not just friendships, but connections, real connections that I wouldn't have been able to do from this far away. And without sounding soppy and, I don't know, without sounding over the top and cliched, it really made the event for me. It really did. It was the friendships that I made that I've carried on, and not just the friendships, but the business connections that I've made have been incredible. So that is a big part of GoWild for me, because you're meeting friends who have the same interests, and that's I feel that because planning is more of a niche sort of thing to do, it's very hard to find people who get it. But when you do, it's amazing, and it fills my cup. Okay, that's all on friendships. Oh, okay, the hard part, the feedback. I've touched on a few of these before. Now, as mentioned, everything in this is my opinions only. So, and it's been a really long it's been a really long live, so I do apologise. But the reason I'm doing it the reason I do all of my lives, my weekly lives on YouTube, is so that people can fast forward and rewind and watch what they want to. And it stays up. Now, the hard part. Okay. Let me just say that afterward I did chat to the GoWild team and I told them my feedback. They have been receptive to it. Obviously, when you're putting on an event for that many people, there's going to be things that you cannot change. And I know that just from doing my business, or that you are out of your, I shouldn't say cannot change, but are sort of out of your control, or you're limited, and you're never going to please anyone. That is in no way influence from them. They just took my feedback on board. This is from me. So my first feedback would be, I agreed with Tara with the whole, it makes it look like it's 4 days. It's not. It's not a 4-day conference. It really, I mean, they have like Thursday's registration. So I'm looking at the list here. Thursday's registration. And they have some meet and greets and photo booths and all that sort of stuff set up. But I didn't feel like I didn't want to go to the meet and greets. So it was there. I just didn't really, I don't know. I feel a little bit, meet and greets are not really, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it just wasn't something I was into. And that's what I like about things like this, is you can pick and choose. But the welcome party, which was Thursday night, I loved. And I'm not sure if that's why they say it starts on Thursdays, on the Thursday, and they have that first day because they don't want people to fly in on the Friday morning and miss out on the party. Maybe that's, I don't know. But I loved the welcome party as well. It was KAD karaoke. I am not game to get up on that stage, but my girls, Jen and Bess, killed it. They did amazing, and it was so good to cheer them on. And we found this little pocket off to the side, which there was hardly anybody, like there was two like side pockets, there was hardly anybody there. So we sort of went around to the side and had our group around there, and there's plenty of room on that bit for us. So then it really starts at, like, so it's got conference room opens at 7:30. Yeah, I learnt my lesson. Don't wake up at 4 because you can't sleep because it's like Christmas. And then go down there at 6. If you wake up at 4, get your booty downstairs and go line up. And then on the last, like, they had Sunday included. But, like, again, I don't know if they put Sunday down because they don't want people to miss out on the party on Saturday night. I had breakfast on the Sunday. Trying to think of all the stuff that I did. I had breakfast on the Sunday with some amazing girls and friends that I had made. That was not wild organised. But everybody was checking out because, like, hotels check out early morning. And that was the night that I forgot to book my hotel. So I called up and said I need another night because I had nowhere to sleep. And then I went to the adult party pool at the Hard Rock, and that was, oh my gosh. I went there with Tabs, and it was just, I spent a ridiculous amount of money on a giant cocktail, and I had the time of my life. I'm like, honey, this is how the other half lived. It was so much fun, and it was an experience I'd never forget. Again, not part of Wild. So I did feed that back to Jeanette and the team and told them that, you know, maybe some better communication about that would be great, because I know with conferences, they do have to, like, things are relatively fluid, like, in terms of the schedule until you get closer. So I know it's hard to send out a schedule, but I went into the Facebook group and I said, hey, it's my first time. And so I booked, full disclosure here, I booked an early ticket, pre-sale ticket, because I went to the shop. So there might have been more information once the general tickets went on sale, but because I was pre-sale, I'm not sure if there was less information for us. But she's taken that on board, and full credit to her for listening to that feedback. So I don't know what they're going to do this year, but she did take that feedback on board, which was lovely. The next bit of feedback that I would have, which I have discussed, is the Michael's make room for myself, and I'm guessing the other people who were involved in it. It really put a dampener on the rest of Go Wild because of that anxiety and that stress and that hanging over the head of you. So, and again, organising a conference, like, just getting the timing of everybody and making sure everybody's there, I don't know whether they would just open it up to shops to go and watch or whatnot. It's like, I'm not organising this. But to me, that was hard. That was my worst part, was that was on at the end. And then by then it was only the party left. Not to say I didn't get anything out of the rest of it, I did. But that was my hard part. That was the hard part for me. Trying to think the other hard part. I think the other hard part was really pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. I mean, I know a lot of people who are planners have anxiety like I do, or are very introverted. And to you all, the way I feel about it is, try and put yourself out there, but don't break your limits. If you're at your limit, go back to your hotel. And if you do know that you will hit those limits really early, try and book a hotel room where Wild is, so that you can have that breakout space. Because that was hard. I want to say the cost, but I'm not just talking about the cost of the conference, because when I think of other conferences I've been to, like photography conferences and stuff like that, Go Wild was actually very well priced for what you got. The cost, when I say the cost for me, it was the flights, the 2 weeks of accommodation that I spent there, Americans don't include taxes in the prices of everything. I'm like, that is all included in Australia. That was really hard for me. And I need a drink. Gratuity tips. That was hard for me. I hadn't tipped before. I had Bess going to me, no, you haven't put enough. I'm like, oh, okay. So having to learn that and learn how to tip and when to tip, and the fact that you have this certain budget for every day, but once you add on tips and taxes and things like that, your budget blows out super quick. So I struggled with that. And that's not to do with Wild, because when you book Wild, and if you book the hotel, there's like resort fees and taxes on top of that, which I also wasn't expecting, because that's not the way we do things here. And that's a general thing. Like, that would be if I traveled to America for anything else, not just for Wild. So that was a downfall for me. But that's not to do with Wild. That's if you're traveling international, just know that. Trying to think. I do have a couple of questions that people have asked me. So, the other hard bit, and this again isn't a Wild issue because I try to mitigate it. It's non-stop, and they put those downtimes in so that there is a bit of a break. But if you're a shop owner, it's non-stop. And if you really want to take advantages of the breaks, you catch up with people, you make those friendships, you put yourself outside of your comfort zone, you know, and that makes it non-stop. And that was hard, because I just remember going back to my room some nights and falling asleep and not knowing if I was actually going to make it to my bed. So that was hard. So they're probably the hardest parts that I found out about the whole experience for myself. Besides the fact that Vegas was smoky, which is just Vegas and dry as opposed to where I live. Being apart from my family, that was the hardest part. But yeah, that was... Hey baby. Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
She's been dying to say hi. Come on. Just quickly. You want to look at this camera here? Oh, this camera here. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, off you go. Go back with Daddy.
Okay.
Good girl. Love you.
Okay. It's like I have a big horn noise.
Go on. Out you go. Love you. So that was the hard part. Okay. What have I got next? My Wild experience. So that was my Wild experience. And on Instagram, I asked people if they could share some questions with me that they may have about my Wild experience. So there is a 1 to 2 minute delay. So what I'm going to do is, while that delay is coming through and while you're on YouTube writing some questions, I am going to go through the questions I've already been pre-asked, so then that way by the time I answer those, a whole bunch of questions will come through. Question: can people go who aren't vendors or store owners? Yes, it's open to everyone. There was I met a gorgeous couple there who, I think they have a store now, or they did have a store when they went there, but it was a planner guy and girl, and they would, oh my gosh, they were so wonderful. I ran into them so often, and they were cheering me on at the make room. And there's the great thing about Wild is that it's a mix of store owners and non-store owners. Because I've been to conferences where they have the part where everybody goes to, and then they have the store part, and yeah, that's like it's I love the fact that everyone's there and people can come up and ask questions. Although, to be honest, I honestly did not expect anybody to I thought maybe a couple of people had heard about us, but most people wouldn't have. So that was a little bit shocking that more people knew about us than I thought. And so yes, anyone can go. What's the difference between events? Okay, I said at the beginning, I haven't been to other planner events. My understanding, and this may be wrong, is that Planners Gone Wild, Go Wild is like, let's call it a 2-day with a welcome party. Well, actually, even other events I've been to counted the welcome party as like the first day. So one of the photography events I went to. So they sort of count to that. Let's say 2.5 day event. I feel like that's one of the few that really go all out. And it's not just like a meetup. Like I've been to a few meetups locally. I haven't obviously been to ones in the States because I'm from Australia. But it's like an all out party. But not just a party, it's got like some people talking, like the major sponsors obviously have their slots to talk, because they pay for a huge chunk. So, and then they've got other people up talking, they've got guest panels and all that sort of stuff. So, whereas I'm guessing the smaller planner events, and I think I would love to go and see like Sugar Gal Shop. I hope that one day I can afford 2 trips over to America and check that out as well. And I think there's PlannerCon, which I think is a couple of day event. I haven't been to one of those. So I really only have that experience to talk about. So I don't want to chat too much on that question. Your best advice to do that is to go into a planner group and ask people about that. Unfortunately, I'm not the best person to answer that question. Did I share a room? No, I was going to, and Michael said to me, I want you to have your own room because you haven't been away from home like this. Like the most I'd been away from home was a weekend since I've had the kids, and that was to work. That was to do photo shoots down in Sydney where I used to live, because I had some clients who would pay for me to fly back down, which you can't tell from the photos that I take now because they're pretty horrible, to be honest. I'm really lazy now with my photography. So I didn't share a room. I've talked to someone about sharing a room next year, but we are very open and honest about our bad habits, so that if we wanted to share a room, we know exactly what we're getting in for. I know that in the group, the GoWild Vegas Facebook group, there was call outs for roommates and stuff like that. If you can afford it, I would say getting a room by yourself has its benefits. I had enough space to put out my makeup and all my stuff, all my swag. When I needed downtime, I had complete and utter downtime. There was nobody I had to worry about being in the room with me. I could just be myself. I could make phone calls to my family without anybody in the room at the same time. They're the little things about having your own space in the room that was really beneficial. And I can see some questions are starting to come through, which is great. I've still got 4 questions, and then I'll come back to that. That was supposed to be will your products be available to Aussies? So I'm guessing that's with the Michael stuff. I can't talk much about that at the moment as we're still discussing things with Michael's, but as soon as I have information, I will be sharing all that with you all. Just know that it is still happening. Sometimes with these like business deals, especially big ones like this, there's a lot of toing and froing and stuff that needs to happen. And yeah, so it is happening in the background. We haven't forgotten about it. They haven't forgotten about us. It's still, the ball is still rolling. Was it worth it? Flights, accommodation, ticket, etc. Okay, so this is a huge question, and it would be very easy for me to just go yes or no and leave it at that, but I don't want to because I want to clarify. Let me give this short answer. Yes. Yes. And here's why. 1, taking the Michael's Make Room aside. So this was our 2nd year sponsoring a table at GoWild. The first year we wanted to launch our planners app, our TNs. It was this one. Well, the first version of this one that I wanted to launch and show off. They didn't make it in time. So our table was really basic. It was one of our kits on the table. One of our kits on the table for everybody with some flowers in the middle, because I had to send everything over. I had to rely on the team to set up my table, and I think Bess also helped set up my table. And it hardly got any coverage because it was one of the smaller tables. So I learnt from that. I don't mind things going not as expected as long as you learn from it. So the next year I said, okay, let's organise stuff earlier. So that's this year. So for this year, Vegas one, I was like, let's get stuff in earlier. Let's make sure that we're prepared. Let's go all out and see what that changes. So I went all out. There was TNs, there was bags, there was all sorts of stuff that I'd specifically created. I basically went with little sleep for 2 to 3 weeks beforehand, as well as when I was getting the products made and stuff like that. And that's no different to right now. It was... So at first I was like, oh, I feel like as a table vendor I could have gotten a little bit more out of it. Like there could have been that listing. Oh, that's what I meant to add into the hard part. But I've spoken about that a few times now. And I've fed that back to Jeanette and the team too. But the plus side to that was I got to go over to my table and meet people and talk to them about the products on the table, talk to them about our range, talk to them about how we're growing, talk to people on the side about stuff that we're thinking of releasing and get their feedback before we actually do it. And that to me was invaluable, because people were also going past our table and talking about it, who didn't get to sit there. So that was great. I had Office Depot go past our table and check out our products. I had Michael's check out our products. So that was incredible. I'll talk about this year coming up in a second. It was expensive for us. I think we spent probably about 10 grand by the time I got there. Australian, by the time I got there. Paid for Wild, paid for the hotels, paid for me to eat every day. I also spent a lot of time going out to Michael's, Joanne's, Hobby Lobby, and every planner store that I could find, so that I could see what it's like out there. And I said during my Michael's experience, and I think I said y'all as well, y'all don't know how lucky you have it, because you have so much. Our local craft stores don't even have planners, most of them. So seeing that was amazing for me as a business owner. So was it worth it for me as a business? Yes, 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 yes. On a personal note, I'm still going to say yes, because I got a break. So I tacked on some extra time to the end of my GoWild trip so that I could just see a friend and just chill. I got that break. I haven't had a holiday like that in many, 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 many years. I got to find out who I was as a person. I got to go and let my hair down at a party. I got to meet people who were into the same things as me. I think Denise has said, making friends as an adult is hard. And it really is. I met people who had the same interests as me. I met people who made me feel like I wasn't in this alone. And that was invaluable. So to me, on a personal level, if you can afford it, yes, I found it worth it. But I also took advantage of everything that I could, and I was exhausted for weeks. The exhaustion afterwards was another thing. Michael was ready for it. He knew what was coming, but I was not ready for it, because he was still working a full-time job. So I think I got back Sunday morning, and then Monday I had to be ready to get the kids off to school. He went off to work, and I had to try and work the next day. When it comes to was it worth it? So the thing, as I said, I want to learn something from every year. What I learned from this year is that if I really want to take advantage of getting my name out there, I need to have a merch license as well as a table. Because the merch licenses, you get to promote more of your stuff in the group. Because they're paying for merch, and people in that group are looking for Go Wild stuff. So I'm consistently learning. I'm an imperfect person. I'm trying to learn as much as I can every year. Was the Go Wild part on its own with how much you pay worth it? It was expensive, but not for what it was. I think for all the bits and pieces that are included in it, and this is not to say that other people who thought it was expensive I'm negating, it's just from my experience on the conferences I've been to. I felt that it was definitely worth the ticket. And of course you have to pay for your own accommodation and you have to take that into account. And one of the things that being a photographer taught me is that if people really value well paid, because I was on the higher limit of what people would pay, if people value that, they will pay for that. And it's very much like this. If you want that Go Wild experience, because I say it's experience, it's more than just the conference. It's pulling people together. If you want that experience and if you're willing to take advantage of that on the out, and I'm not digging into anybody here at all, because as I said earlier, you need to do as much as what is good for you. If you need a break, you need a break. So for me, I found it really worthwhile, both professionally and personally. I just wish I didn't have to fly so far. That was hard. I mean, I know I have to pay for flights, but oof, so expensive. But I went and did the Slotzilla. Almost peed my pants. But it was really good. I was so scared, and then I literally got to the point where, because it was my idea, I was like, let's go do this. And then when I got up to the top there, I'm petrified of heights. And they put the harness on me and my legs wouldn't move. They're like, you need to step forward. I'm like, yep, I am. And I was shaking. And the guy goes, it's only my first time hooking you up. I'm like, and then he's called out to his mate. He's like, is this right? And I'm like, dude, not the time. And I saw him. He's like, why not? I just want to make sure that I got it right. I'm like, and I just had to tell myself, what pushes you makes you better, makes you stronger. And that's my own personal belief. I'm not pushing that on anybody else. That's my own personal belief. So pushing myself at events, at things like this, really make a big difference. And I think that my YouTube has stopped again. So I'm just going to reload that. And then I'll get on to, what's the next thing? Okay. The next question is, am I coming back for Go Wild SoCal? SoCal. Okay. Yes, I am coming back. The first thing, so when I debriefed with Michael and I told him what it was like, and he goes, you need to go again next year. And I'm not just saying for business reasons, but for personal reasons. You came back and you were alive. You were exhausted, but there was something about you. You had that twinkle. You were re-energized. You wanted to make more stuff. He goes, I can't buy that. I cannot buy that. So yes, I'm going back. Not only am I going back, we are hopefully going to sponsor a table again, which will be spoiled. And this year I'm going to be getting a merch license. So if you love what we do, hang out for that, because we are going to have stuff that there is nothing else like it out there. And this will be a hot product. So keep an eye out for that. And as soon as I can get a merch license, I will. And as soon as I have some of the products here, I will show them. But it is literally making me so excited right now. I cannot wait to get back over there, not only to go to Go Wild, but also to go and see friends. And I'm in two minds about Disneyland because I want to go, but I always dreamed about going as a parent and taking my little ones along. And if we were to take our little boy across with us, we'd have to get a support worker or 2 support workers, and it would literally be really, really big. Like, it would probably be a 40 to 50 grand holiday for us, which we just don't have the money for to support him. So we made the decision that I will be going over on my own again. I've learned a few things from last year, but I am so excited to go again. I will be going again, and I can't wait to go. I want to re-meet the people I met again this year. Hopefully I'll be a little bit less nervous and less freaked out about the whole thing. Hopefully I'm a little bit better rested, and hopefully people like what we're putting out in our merch. I don't think I can mention what we're going to do yet until we have the merch license, which is fair. Okay, but yes, we're definitely going back. Okay, question time. Let me just scroll through what people have asked. Aussie girls do know how to party. Indiana. I'll pass on your happy birthdays, thank you. How do the tables work? You don't sit on the table you are sponsored. No, so you can. So you get you can reserve a spot that is for you if you've sponsored that table. I believe 1 or 2 people can, like volunteers, can sit at the table. Like they can reserve a spot. And I learnt actually during Tara's video that the reason why... Indy, is that you?
Yeah.
Come here for a second. Come here, Bubba. Come here. Have a look at this. See here? This is what everybody's saying. Look, happy birthday, Indy. Happy birthday. They're all wishing you happy birthday. We say thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Off you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, go on. Off you go. Thanks for that. That's easy. Where was I? Oh yeah, so you can choose to sit on your table, you can not, you can decide not to. I decided not to because I really wanted to sit on Tara's table, and I wanted the spaces on my table to go to as many people who either are big fans of what we do, or hopefully to people who hadn't found out about us and are experiencing and will share and talk about what we do. But I made the deal that is with myself that as soon as I find my table and I reserve my spot, I go straight over there and I help them. With our bags, like origami bags. So I had to show them how to convert them from wraps for the boxes into bags. So I decided not to sit at my table. And what I was going to say is I learnt that the reason why volunteers also do that is so that they can bring it makes it easier for the swag drops. So I learnt that from watching Tara's video the other day, because she raised some really good questions in that too. Okay. So that's how the tables work. And also, like, the tables, so they, a few people on my table told me to always take your stuff with you, because, like, there's a room of, like, 1,400, 1,500 people, so you just never know. And not only that, but the second day, you're probably not going to get your same seat. And then even within the breaks, I didn't get the same seat. So at one point, I couldn't, like, when I came in for Cindy's podcast, I couldn't find a table. So it took me, because I didn't want to interrupt and walk through to the empty spots. So it took me a little while to find a spot, but I got one before the swag drop. Okay. Am I going next year? Yes, I've answered that. Do you buy lots of products there, or is it more about the education, inspirational speeches? So there's a lot of swag. Like, you're going to fill up your suitcase with a lot of swag. You can buy from EC and can't remember who else. I think EC had a store there. It's really not about the buying stuff. I went to Michael's and I bought some stuff that I really liked, because I'm not just going to buy stuff because they're there. I'd rather go off to Michael's in my free time and check out what there is there and buy some stuff that we can't get here in Australia. So I'll buy it and like, I bought a few bits and pieces that I can't get here. So that being said, if you go into the group, like, once you've bought your ticket, if you go into the group, you can buy a whole bunch of merch from stores like myself, which is officially licensed merch. So what I recommend is buying all that before you go to Wild, and that way you'll have everything to do your planner and everything with, so that you're all wilded up. Okay, cheeky question statement. Hope you claim the Go Wild trip as a business tax expense. Of course I did. Doesn't everybody? Why wouldn't you? Okay. So Lake Effect Planner said it was just EC where you could buy. Yeah, I didn't buy anything from EC. I mean, I have Erin Condren planners, which to be honest, I use them a lot for placing my bits and pieces into, like my templates into, to make sure that they're sized correctly, and that they're and so I can show people what to do with my products. But I love using my TNs, and I Franken plan a lot. So I have my Happy Planner Mini inside a B6, one of my B6 TNs, which I don't think any of these have got. No, because I pulled them over because I was designing something this morning. So yeah, that was double over double any of my normal lives. I think that the questions have stopped. I'm so sorry for making this so long. If you've got any questions, I'll wait another minute just to see if they come through. The way you can support the little stores who support Wild and make it keep on going on is by buying through us, through the merch store. And as I said, if you see someone who sponsors a table, make sure to share it. If you're on Instagram, share it there. It literally costs nothing to share and talk about the tables, to talk about the event. You know, to make sure that those people really are getting their value and their time. It takes a lot of time as a table sponsor and as a merch store and things like that. It takes a lot. So supporting, so I see it as, by supporting Wild, you're supporting the planner community. And it's not just a Wild thing, that would be for any of the events that are run, which I would love to get to one day. So I'm trying to think if it's caught up. I'm just going to restart my YouTube again just to make sure I haven't missed anything, because I would have hated to have missed anything. Looks like I haven't missed anything. Oh my gosh. Okay, so scrolling back through. Okay, yeah. I want to thank everybody who joined me today, and helped me share my opinions. It was a little bit nerve-wracking. Thanks to everybody who came into YouTube and shared some questions or messaged me on Instagram. I'm sorry I couldn't get the Instagram thing to work. I did try. I even had, I've even got my microphones here, which didn't work either. They worked yesterday. So I just want to, oops, hold on. Oh my goodness. I just wanted to, do a big shout out and a big thank you to everybody who made today possible. It literally, as I've said many times before, it was all just for myself. The reason why I did this was so that people could get sort of a behind the scenes, my own personal opinions, especially those who are traveling internationally, because there's a lot of questions. And I know that a year ago, when I was deciding whether or not to go, I had a lot of questions, and a lot of people who have YouTubed their experience beforehand really helped me make my decision. So there's a few things that happen in the back end that you just don't know about before you get on there. I want to, who do I want to thank? Oh, well, the Go Wild team for putting on such an event, and for listening to my feedback when I gave it to them, because I couldn't imagine I can't even picture putting together a local meetup for 50 people. So anybody who does that, anybody who does a get together, I have the utmost respect for you all. I want to thank everybody who came up to me at GoWild and said hi, to those people who cheered me on in the wild room, to my beautiful friends who I met and made and have kept me going this last year, and of course to my beautiful, wonderful family who made it possible, and our subscribers who make it possible. And not only our subscribers, so people who don't know, we don't just sell subscription kits, we also sell stickers and weekly sticker kits for Hobonichi, the EC, washi tapes, all that sort of stuff. So if you see me at GoWild in 2020, please come up and say hello. I will do my best to say hi. Please keep in mind I do suffer from terrible jet lag when I'm there. And I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful week. And thank you all for watching. Hug your loved ones, and see you next week. Bye.